It's like after the tournament, not the tournament, the tour, sorry, and you played that game against South Africa. Were you then sent back to New Zealand, or did they think, "Oh, this is kind of showing a step up. We'll bring you back to the squad in Glasgow"? Or did you go back to New Zealand?
Yeah, I went back to New Zealand to finish the scholarship off for 2 or 3 weeks afterwards. So yeah, I went back and played club rugby straight after playing against Springboks in New Zealand. So that was quite cool to be able to do that. They were all making a big fuss about it, but for me, I was just like, oh, I'm just going to go back and play. It was good to go back. I actually loved it. It was like because I got rushed out to go to South Africa. I didn't get the chance to say bye to anybody, so that was actually like a little bit of closure to go back and play and then get out of there. But basically, what happened was like, so 2000. It was the start of 2014 when I was in New Zealand, and I got back in maybe July. Then pre-season started in August or whatever it was. So the season ran from August, and then when we won the championship, it was 2015 in May, June, whenever it was. So I was pretty heavily involved that season at Glasgow. Maybe played like, I don't know, 18 games, 16, 18 games. Like, I mean, I didn't start every game, but certainly like the lead up to the final started to play quite a lot. Like, probably started like the last 4 games and then won the semi-final in Glasgow. And then I didn't play in the final at all. I actually got dropped. Like, that was a tough moment at that time for me to go through, having played so much throughout the season and then missed out in the final. But it's just the way that it goes.
Yeah, I swear you've got a copy of my note. I feel like I end up subconsciously giving everybody a copy of my notes because that's actually what I was going to ask you about, because you had such a big season in the squad in 2015. That was like the real first season for you of cementing your spot in the Glasgow's team and squad. But then, like you said, so did you feel the boys around you sort of fueled by that 2014 loss in the final? And then, like you said, then you got to the semis, you were all putting your heart on the line. And then how do you, as a player who gets dropped in the semi-final, still keep that motivation and that attitude like in the right headspace when you're around the squad for that week and that build-up?
Yeah, I actually can't remember back to like what the week was like training when I wasn't playing. But I remember what it was like when I got told that I wasn't playing. Like, I was like, well, I was shattering. Like, I was like, oh wow, like, and like, because I was quite young at that point, it wasn't as shattering as it would have been maybe if I was 25, 27, 28. But yeah, I was devastated. Like, I could tell everybody felt really sorry for me. That was probably the worst bit about it, because like I'd played and played quite well in the games towards the end of the season. I thought I'd done quite well in the semi-final. But at that point, I think there was somebody coming back who was like a leader or something, and they basically got put straight in, because coming back from an injury or whatever, they got put in on the bench, thinking the semi-final, and then they were into the squad for the final, which I totally understand. Like, it's like if there's guys that say have been playing their hearts out over the last 5 or 6 years and maybe got to a point where they almost won, but maybe lost in a final or whatever, to give them an opportunity, I get that. And if they're a bit older, more mature, they're a leader, that's the way that it goes. Did I feel hard done by? Absolutely. Would I wish that I was playing? Yeah, but that's just the way that it is. And, if I could go back now and sort of replay that season, there would be 1,000 things that I would do differently to try and cement my spot in the final. But you're only operating from your mind at that time, so there's nothing you can do to change it, and that's just the way that it is. So no, it was tough, it was hard, but that's just the way that it goes in sport. You have to just pick up your stuff and get on with it.
That takes a real. I imagine that must take a real mind shift, because I'd throw my toys out the pram, because I was doing the good bit of watching YouTube highlights before I started, and I was watching your season through it. And like you say, you were playing phenomenal rugby. You were playing some of the best rugby you'd ever played. So to have that sort of not taken the shot taken away from you, because you still won it and you're still very much part of that winning team. Maybe not the matchday squad, but you're part of the Glasgow Warriors team that won the trophy.
Yeah.
But how does that affect the celebration? I suppose what I'm trying to think about asking. Yeah, how does that affect the celebration of you? Because like you said, you can look back at it and go, "Oh, I could have done these things differently." But in the time, is it weird celebrating that when you're still feeling a bit like stiffed out of it in a way.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, you'd probably have a little bit of resentment for a bit of time after that, but that was probably the best celebration I'd had. Like, all the non-playing players flew over to watch the game at Ulster in Belfast, and we just had a big day. We just got out, we had a few beers, we went for some food, we mingled with all the fans, and then after the game finished, we all flew back like on a charter plane with a bunch of fans at like midnight or whatever. And yeah, I mean, we just went out and had fun. Like, we just tried to like enjoy the experience. Like, as a group of guys that weren't playing, there was maybe people injured, people didn't get selected. At that point, I think we just came together for a good time. And then the day after, we went to a brewery and had another good day, you know, out celebrating. For me, although there would have been resentment there, like, it was still fun. Like, I was still enjoying myself. It was harder in 2017 or 18 when we lost the final at Celtic Park. I didn't play in that game either. I think I was injured. Yeah, I think I was injured. Can't remember. But I remember.
You were injured for that one. I've got it on
I think
my
I was
notes there. You were injured, yeah.
But that was way worse because, like, for us to have that home final there, and obviously to have played throughout the season and contributed, but not play, arguably because I was injured, it was an easier situation for me because it wasn't like I just got dropped. But that was tough to take. I remember feeling really deflated after that. Like,
What was that? Just from the thought of the home final, or just the?
Yeah, I mean, like, we had it all set up for us. We had the home final in Glasgow, v Leinster. It was all looking good. 20 odd thousand fans in Celtic Park, and then we didn't manage to get the win. It was just difficult. Like, I remember sitting in the changing room after the game. Like, losing a final was hard at any level of rugby. Like, it's really tough. But I found that probably even more challenging. Now, maybe that's because I was a bit more emotionally developed at that point, and I could really have an awareness of what went into the organisation to get to the point to get yourself to a final. But that was brutal. Like, it was hard, but we did the same. We went out and celebrated, and was hungover for a few days. After a week or so, you get up and get on with it.
That was one of my thoughts there when you mentioned the day in the brewery after the win in the 2015. I was like, that must have been a tough day to set yourself up for after a midnight fight playing home.
It wasn't that hard.
Can't get hungover if you don't stop. That's the mentality.
No, it wasn't too bad. Yeah, you wake up hungover in the morning, but as soon as you get out and you get some food in, you get a few beers in, and you get around everybody who's just on top of the world after winning a championship. It's brilliant.
There's always that one boy that knows that like dirty like workers' cafe as well, where it's like everything's just cooked on one skittle board. It's like a health and safety nightmare, but the food tastes class.
Yeah, just what you need when you're hungover.
Oh, if you're ever back in Edinburgh, there's a place just off Princess Street. Right? It's called Snacks, SNAX, and it's like, it's good when the queue outside it in the morning is all just high vis. Like, that's when you know you're going to a good place. That's just all high vis in the middle of Princess Street. So,
bloody check it out. Sounds good.
Oh, like typical. Here's your breakfast triple roll, like £3, and it's like comes out and it's like a foot high. Like, we're talking about those burgers from Wendy's, like massive, and it's like, none of it's good for you, but you're still gonna have one like every second day.
Yeah, it'll square you up.
There you go. That's the trick of the trade on how you get into the elite Scottish mentality. You just keep going, something dirty and greasy, and carry on and go again.
Yeah, exactly.
You spoke nicely about 2019 there, and then that final, and then obviously you then had to start to shift. Hey, thank you for listening to this Clips episode on YouTube. And then if you want to hear the whole podcast, you can find them on Apple or Spotify, as well as the full video version on this YouTube channel, alongside all the other great content we produce on a weekly basis. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you again on another Clips episode or in the full episode podcast. Tweet us, tag us, let us know what you thought. All the links are down in the description. It means the world that you guys come and support us, so thank you very much.